Hello, everybody. This is Nicholas Tanek from YourKinkyFriends.com, and I have an absolutely wonderful guest tonight. We're going to talk about camming. We're going to talk about chatterbait. We're going to talk about custom clips. We're going to talk about the beauty and the talent needed for sexting. We're going to talk about poly relationships, impact play, power exchange, being a kitten, and being a princess. Please welcome Mrs. Monopoly. Say hi. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mrs. Monopoly. I am a cam girl. I'm a professional sexter. I am an adult content creator. And I'm a general person who just loves to get kinky and have fun.
Great. Okay. So one thing that I always kind of start out is with. We'll get all into all of that, but one thing I like to start out is because you are someone who's very open with your sexual expression and especially open with your kinks and stuff like that. Um, Tell us about the first time you were like out as someone who's kinky and someone who's sexually expressive.
Okay, so the first time I had to have an experience with other people and my kinks, I went to a dungeon. This is actually where I met Mr. Monopoly. I had a mutual friend who we played D&D together, and they told me that we had to come to this dungeon, and it was in Atlanta, so it was a big city thing. Um, so we went, and I was so scared. I was terrified to get in front of all these people and have someone wail on me, because generally I bottom. And I got in there, and I just almost instantly subspaced. And afterwards, everybody was so welcoming and so kind and had so many stories to tell me. I had people bringing me water, little blankets, just cuddles all around because that's what you need, good aftercare. But it was a really eye-opening experience. There were so many big, soft teddy bears of scary-looking people. If you saw them on the street, you'd think they were scary, but they're gentle souls.
Yes, definitely. We were talking about this before that some of the coolest and kindest people I've ever met are in the kink community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's how you started when you just came out as a kinky person. But how did you get to where you are now? I mean, you're doing multiple things. You're camming. You're doing premiums. You're doing premium Snapchat and custom.
Yeah,
So
it's a lot. It's a lot. I was having a conversation with my significant other. We were talking about just making extra money. We were just trying to make a savings account, basically. Um, and it started with me just sending him sexy pictures while he was at work, and he really enjoyed it. And we posted one on Imgur, I think, and I got a lot of attention from it. And he mentioned cam modeling. I didn't even know it was a thing. I had no idea that women were getting undressed on cam and getting paid for it. So he got me a webcam, and I got myself a laptop, and we just dove in. And I haven't regretted it, not a single second since I started. It has been a whirlwind.
great. So we're going to talk about camming a little more, but when it comes to straight up kink, what would you say your specialties are? Both. They could be either or professional or personal or both.
Okay. Well, I like the DS standards, the topping and the bottoming. I'm a bit of a masochist myself, so um, generally I like to be topped by someone who's strong-willed, who will gently put me in my place in a way. I'm a princess by far. I like to be treated as though I am. I don't know. I don't. Reverent is not the right term, but it's the high respect thing. And
Mm-hmm.
you can hit me, but it's got to be on my terms, kind of thing. So I guess that brings me to switching. Me and my SO will switch in mid scene sometimes, and it's just that extreme power exchange. I have the power. Now I'm going to give you the power. Take
Yeah.
care of it.
That is, like we were talking about Lynn and stuff like that. How we could switch in the same night, like, and it's even giving up the power is empowering. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, it is. It's
And it's
scary.
not only that, but I think it empowers the relationship as a couple as well.
Absolutely. There's a fair amount of trust that you have to have. And your communication lines have to be open all the time. It has to be okay to talk when things need to be talked about. That's the only way you can feel safe in a situation like that.
So okay, so speaking as couples, I was going to do this later, but you're always talking about Mr. Monopoly, and thank him very much for fixing the Google Hangout glitch. Like him already. So I'm always curious about how kinky people meet. So how did you two meet?
We met through mutual friends in the kink community. We had played D&D together, and this mutual friend, she wanted us to go to the dungeon, and we didn't want to go. Me and my other friend didn't want to go by ourselves, so we wanted to go with a group. There's power in numbers kind of thing. So we met up at his house actually, and we traveled to the dungeon together, played a little bit. And from there, we just continued to hang out. It started at just kinky events, and then it turned into more, vanilla swirled in there a little bit. And it just evolved. Like I said, it's that trust that you have to give to play with somebody. That's a good building block to go from there.
Now, in your bio, I noticed it says that you're poly.
Yes, we are.
So let me ask you a question. I have two questions about the poly thing. First of all, how did that come? Did that start from the beginning, or was it something that, kind of ease into it and talk about, because it's different for everybody?
It is very different. And poly, there are so many different ways to do poly. I was in a current relationship when we met, and we were in poly. We were open to having other people come into our lives. And he was actually in a relationship with 3 other people at the time. Over the course of a couple months, some things changed, as they do. And we kind of melded our poly together. And at one time we were 4. And that's actually how we got to the name Monopoly. Because we're kind of a monogamous, polyamorous couple in a weird way. We're just kind of picky with who we spend our time with. It's hard to find honest people who are into kink, who get it.
Yeah. And obviously there are a lot of challenges on keeping a poly relationship when it comes to jealousy, when it comes to trust, when it comes to rules, or whatever. I'm sure there's a million and one problems I can't even think of.
Right.
What is your advice for people? Maybe they decided to be monogamous. I mean, sorry, they decided to be poly, but neither of them had any experience doing it. What would be your advice and how to maintain and keep a healthy poly relationship?
My biggest piece of advice would be to evaluate yourself honestly. You have to be honest with yourself with what could be a potential problem. Like if you usually can feel a trigger coming on, that thing that you did with that person made me feel weird inside. You have to be able to say those things, and you have to be okay with acknowledging it out loud to your partner and letting them have an emotional response to it without it negating you from doing it again. You just always have to provide the information. If there's a problem, you have to talk about it. You can't ignore it. That's how you get problems that you can't fix.
Communication is the key.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about the difference between camming, chatterbait, and the custom clips. Okay, let's just talk with camming for now. Do you have how would you describe a typical camming session?
Typical camming would be, just a couple hours on live in a chat room with a goal. Usually I have multiple goals. Usually there's a form of payment. It's a pay to play sort of thing. You tip a certain amount and then you get whatever you tipped for. Say it's a titty flash or Spanx, or then you have your major goal. Say it's 500 tokens. You get to that goal and there's a fuck show, or we're going to play with a dildo or put a butt plug in, whatever it may be. And honestly, the normal camming night is just one random person coming into the room and deciding to bankroll the entire show. And then they say, just have fun.
So would you say camming for you is basically almost the same thing as chatterbait, or is there a difference?
Well, I cam on Chatterbait. Chatterbait is the site that I cam on. I've been playing around with getting on ManyVids Live. We're considering doing that for the month because they have a higher percentage payout rate right now.
Okay. Now, I just watched the movie because I've been interviewing, several campers recently, actually, and they put me onto this movie that's on Netflix, and it's about cam girls. It's like Chatterbait-esque type people, And trust me, this got 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's called Cam. Have you ever seen it?
I have heard about it. I have not watched it. It's
It's
all a buzz in my Twitter feed. All the cam girls are.
it was entertaining. I thought it was going to be this cheesy, like little horror movie or something like that. And it's more of a thriller than it is a horror movie. It's weird though, but it's about a cam girl who's very popular on a Chatterbait like site,
Mhm.
and she gets locked out of her account, right? And then she finds out that someone like is using her name and is her exact identical and identical personality, identical. And she's like, "Who the hell is this?"
Right. My money you're making. What are you doing?
Yeah, and stuff like that. It's a really, really interesting. I mean, that's like basically the premise of the movie. But it also, I think personally, because of all my friends who are cam girls, um, they were like, it's a pretty realistic depiction of what we do, and in the business and stuff like that. Okay, so premium
Yeah.
snap.
I'm gonna have to check it out then.
It's on Netflix. Yeah, Cam. And like I said, it got like 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's just creepy enough, and it's just sexy enough. And like there's some surprises. Yeah, definitely. Okay, premium Snapchat. Now I'm on Snapchat, barely on Snapchat. So tell us about what premium Snapchat is.
Okay, so if you use Snapchat, maybe you're familiar with their terms and conditions. There's no nudity allowed on Snapchat, technically. So you can get away with it as long as nobody reports it. Because if somebody were to report something that contains nudity, then obviously Snapchat will take it down. So you make a group, a private group, where you invite certain customers in only. People generally, if they're paying for access, they're not going to report it to be taken down. That's just the general premise of it. But for me, every girl does it differently. I do like Titty Tuesday, and I do self-care Sundays where I take bubble baths and take snaps of me in the bathtub. I'll do yoga naked. Um, Fridays are fuck days. We'll post some really good content. There's a special tip menu. If you have premium Snapchat, you get to tip for a custom clip, like request something specific, and I'll send it out. It's been a pretty good moneymaker. I'm a little surprised by it. I never used Snapchat before this. This was my first dive into Snapchat.
Did you use those filters that like make you look like a cat and stuff?
Oh yeah, all the time. People love it. It's great.
You are a kitten though, right?
I am, yeah.
We'll talk more about that in a bit, but let's talk about custom clips. Custom clips, basically someone comes to you and they pay specifically for a clip that's custom made what they want. What is the most popular kind of custom clip that people ask you to do?
It's really funny. The specific things that people want are very basic in my mind. I've had a lot of requests for just finger yourself and come, and if you squirt, if you can squirt, do that. But that's all I want. A lot of them are really basic, normal things. I've had more sales on foot fetish videos than anything. Which is weird for me because I don't like feet, but I'll let someone else like my feet.
I was talking to a woman who does camming, and she like specializes in foot fetish. She makes not only does she like show her feet and paint her nails and heels and stuff like that, but she makes the guys who request pictures of their feet. She makes them take pictures of their feet. And then
Yes.
she like makes fun of them, like, oh, those calluses are horrible. You have hairy toes. Ah.
Yes, that's perfect. That's the best way to do it.
Okay, so I know a lot of people who do custom clips. A lot of they tend to evolve into going, and they either get very fancy, the production value gets very high. Sometimes I was talking to one woman who they make them very kind of like old timey, like the old corsets and there's like
Yes.
stuff like that. Is there any kind of clips that you want to make, or any what direction would you like to go into that's a little different?
I would like to, I would really like to go on a location and film something, because all of my videos are filmed in my home. I would like to go to like a nice hotel or condo on the beach or something and get some good content filmed in a really beautiful area. Maybe even something outside. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, in the woods, on the beach.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be great. I would film all day.
Films or like in a castle.
Right? I build myself a castle.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk sexting. Now, I think personally there's an art to sexting. You know, it's not just. I mean, I think a lot of people just go, they send a dick pic or they're just like, I want to fuck you, and stuff like.
Yeah.
I think there's an art to sexting. So let's talk about what advice, because there are a lot of people who don't text,
Mm-hmm.
who don't sext. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give to somebody who who doesn't really have that much experience in sexting?
I would first suggest, if you have not already, reading any kind of dirty book, any kind of book, anything that has sexual content written. Read the book. I'm not saying copy it, but when you're sexting somebody, try to think in terms of how the book is written. Think of descriptive terms, and start from the beginning. Don't go straight to fucking. You want to talk about how you're warming up to it.
Oh yeah, that's good advice.
A caress on your leg, that gets people hard if they read it, because I mean it's not something that they hear a lot. Especially if it's a woman sexting a man, men don't hear a lot of things that they want to hear through sexting often.
Okay, so this is, you may have fun with this. We're gonna flip this now,
Okay.
right? So I wrote The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself, right? And it was marketed by the publishing company as a romance novel. It's not a romance novel; it's a love story. But I had to do a bunch of like online tours and stuff with romance novelists. And 50 Shades of Grey just came out, and people were trying to ride the wave on that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed is that sometimes these, especially the indie authors, but even the main authors, they use some horrible terms for genitalia.
Oh no.
So I found, and these are real ones I've found. Slit, um, throbbing member,
Oh my god.
pulsating phallus.
Ooh, that had to have taken some time to think about.
There's alliteration in it, at least.
There is.
Spicy taco.
A spicy taco.
Yeah, her. What's it? Her moist womanhood. I don't know. The word moist.
The word moist in any sentence is just weird.
So what? Like, I'm sure that some of the people you sexed with don't have the kind of artistry that you have. So with it, of course, without naming names, can you think of any like where just like they just said the wrong thing?
I did actually had one person who because what happens is they go onto the site and they get the number and they text me. Generally they just text me, hey, and I'll have to start it, but I try to get as much information as I can before I start so I can find out what they're looking for. And I had this one person that was into giantess stuff. I actually had to look it up, and I didn't know how to respond. So I was basically just asking him questions. Do you mean if I were an ant and you were a giant? And he was like, yeah, keep going. And it just continued like that. It was the strangest thing. I have never even heard of it.
Usually the giantess stuff is, are with, very, very tall women, very,
Amazonian.
Amazonian women, women who are very curvy or something like that. And you are not that.
I am not. No, and he kept asking for pictures, and I was like, sure.
Now, one of the things, like we were talking about Cam, the movie Cam, part of it is, the safety. So you put yourself out there with text messages, with Snapchat, with camming, Chatterbait, and stuff like that. What are some safety measures that you take so that you don't get creeps?
Yeah, safety is a really, really big thing. There's geo blocking on just about any platform. All the platforms that I use have some form of geo blocking. They block my location. I don't use my location on anything anymore, unless GPS I need to get somewhere. And for Chatterbait specifically, I block my state, my region, from being able to view my cam. So there's a way for me to get around it. There are ways that other people can get around it. Not going to talk about it, but I just kind of have to keep my fingers crossed and hope somebody that I know doesn't see me, But there's not a lot you can do. You just kind of put yourself out there and follow the safety measures that are available. And obviously don't tell anybody where you live, that kind of stuff. When you take pictures, don't do it in front of a street sign, that kind of stuff. Be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, my last article, it just came out yesterday. Yeah, the Professional Dominatrix 4. One of the Siren, yeah, she said, she gave me some good advice. She goes, make sure there's nothing in the background that that could lead to your identity, like
Exactly.
pictures of your family, your picture, certain identifying
marks. Yeah.
Stuff like that. Okay, so let's talk about impact play. From my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, because like I'm still learning about stuff. Impact play, in my understanding, is anything that really basically impacts you. So it could be slapping, caning, whipping, paddling, stuff like that. Is that your definition of it?
Yes, something that moves you.
Okay. And what? All right. We'll play a little game. Flogger or riding crop?
I like the flogger.
Okay. Whip or hand?
Hand.
Ah. Okay. All right. Paddle or switch?
Ooh. Switch.
Okay. All right.
I like the stingy. I like stingy more than I like thuddy. Unless I'm in the mood to do impact play, then we have this special. It's a boot paddle. It's got the bottom of a boot print on one.
Oh, it leaves a mark.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how far do you go up? Because I know some people who are into impact play, like they get like their asses or parts of the body are like severely bruised and red and purple, only sometimes purple. You know what I mean? And it lasts them for days, and they get so exhausted. And then something like my dom, for example, it's just a couple whacks. And that's it. You know what I mean? So like, where are you on that spectrum?
Well, it's hard to tell because I don't mark up easy. I can take a lot more than most people expect because I'm so little. But there's never a mark. The only times that I've ever had bruises afterwards have been after Frolicon, and that was because I had been playing for 3 days straight. The goal is always to get bruises. I always want to get them, and we try really hard. But I've been tied up and beaten, in the best ways, but no marks.
Okay.
So I'm somewhere in the middle, I guess.
All right. Now, first of all, let's talk kittens.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name? You have a cat in the back of you, the background. What's the name?
Her name is Talia.
Talia. That's a pretty
Yep.
name.
Yep. Sweet kitty. I'm surprised she's not up here meowing at you guys.
I always wanted, if I had an all black cat, I would name it Soy Sauce.
Aw, I love black cats. Black cats are so sweet. I don't know what it is.
I don't know if you know I'm sorry, Julie Klausner is. She's a friend of the Best Show. She's on that show, Difficult People. She's a very talented woman and writer. She has a tuxedo cat, black cat with the white thing, the white triangle, and it's named Tom Sharpling named it. The name of it is Jimmy Jazz.
Jimmy Jazz, jazz hands.
So okay, let's talk about being a kid. We talked about being a princess, but let's talk about being a kitten. And shout out to Tangle Blue. I love you so much. She is an essential contributor and a part of my life. For your kinky friend, she did your banner that you'll see when we're done with this.
Yes.
And she does a lot. She's just amazing, and she's a kitten, and she really gave me insight into what that's being like. And she made me ears, which I wore.
That's adorable. I love ears.
So yeah, when I did the word association thing, I put these on.
They're so cute. They have bows too.
Yeah. We handmade them, so yeah, we'll put them on. Okay, so tell us about you being a kitten. Now, do you go from literally acting like a kitten, or just having kind of the traits of the way kittens are? They're cute, they're adorable, they like the cuddle, they like the sleep. Do you wear like butt plugs with tails on it and ears sometimes?
There is a really wide range of what kitten play can be. I totally get that. I generally just adapt some of the traits that are kind of natural to me anyways. It all started, I got a collar once from my dominant, and it had a bell on it. And I found that as I moved around the house and I could hear it jingle, it was like a constant reminder that I was subbing for somebody, and it was really nice. So it kind of, it was almost like a 24-hour subbing thing. So it turned out that the bell turned me on. So we just kind of kept it, and it moved on, and we found that I'm into primal play. So there was always, headbutting, nuzzling. I like to be scooped up, like picked up. I like laying in people's laps. I don't crawl on the floor on 4 legs, on my arms and legs, but I do occasionally wear a butt plug with a tail in it. It is fun. It's something about, it's just playing dress up. It's just sweet.
Definitely.
Lots of head pats.
Tangle Blue, I think she's kind of like on your level on of that kind of play. I don't know. She doesn't like she'll joke around and crawl into a ball in the corner, or and wear the ears and stuff like that. But yeah, I think she's more on your side. But we'll have to talk with her about that. Okay, let's talk. In the news a couple days ago, Tumblr made an announcement. Now, are you on Tumblr?
I am on Tumblr, and I've been catching bits and pieces of what's going on. Explain to me what has happened.
Okay. Tumblr decided, first of all, Instagram is for like family and promoting. I mean, I promote Dear Kinky Friends all over Instagram, but I don't put nudes on because a lot of people get taken down. But it's like, it's those pictures where people post their dinner, post their breakfast and stuff.
Yeah, like a pretty flower.
Yeah, pretty flower. Here's my niece,
Yep.
But I have basically exclusively used Tumblr for porn, and most of my friends who are sex workers, which are most of them, they use Tumblr for porn. And a lot of my trans friends and lesbian friends, especially, they've used Tumblr or TUMBLR, to kind of express themselves and meet other people
Mhm.
and connect with other people. And what Tumblr announced that they're going to take away all sexual content. That's
Ah,
that's 90% of the sexual content, and all the sex workers, they some of them make a living off Tumblr.
right. Yeah, I've seen a lot of girls who do like strictly panty sales on Tumblr.
Yeah, I mean, you name it: phone sex, dominatrixes, professional submissives, cam girls, and Tumblr, they're already flagging posts. They've and then, like dumb, like their algorithm is ridiculous. Like pictures of Garfield, have been flagged. Their own announcement has been flagged,
Jeez.
and it's just text. So and here's another weird thing about it: the only nudity allowed, right, after the 17th of December will be classic art, like David,
Yeah.
or anything like by Botticelli or something like the classic art, or and this doesn't make any sense, or protest nudity.
But why? But
I
why
don't
though?
know. It's ridiculous. So I mean, how how has Tumblr been for you, and this them taking away, because they're just going to delete every anything that deals with sexuality or nudity.
That's
How Tumblr been for you, and how do you think it may affect you?
I honestly, it's probably not going to affect me personally very hard, but I mean, I feel for a lot of other people who are gonna have to deal with the backlash. I mean, there are younger adults and young kids who are trying to learn how to express themselves and explore their sexuality, and for some of them, Tumblr is their only outlet.
Yeah,
They don't have a group of friends or a community to lean back on because they're just kids. They need a place where they can be anonymous and
especially
find
the
themselves.
the sissies and the cross dressers. Like they're huge on Tumblr. It's
Mhm.
I feel really bad for them. You can't, so like, you're not gonna be able to see a guy in a dress with a chastity device on his cock. Like,
Right, right, yeah.
all
I
right. So,
imagine it's awful.
what are some now throughout? I mean, like I said, I've been kinky for a long time. I've been in the community for a while, and I'm always surprised how deep the rabbit hole goes. There always seems to be something new. Like, for example, although I'm very much in the femdom and I'm a switch, I never thought for the life of me that I would ever have a custom made chastity device. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
never
Uh,
thought that would be something you'd be into.
Never thought that would ever be something I'd be into. And trust me, I'm into it, but I'm not that into
Mhm.
it.
You're into it enough to have one custom made, but not a drawer full of them.
The longest I've been locked up is like 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Whew.
And then I hear people like, they're 8 months, 2 years. I'm like, God, wow.
Oh, that hurts my vagina.
Okay, so
I
now,
would be pissed all the time. I'd just be angry.
so I mean, like I said, you're polyamory. I kind of view it as a form of kink in a way because it deals with
Absolutely.
the person. Impact play, power exchange, the kitten and princess dynamic, everything like that. I think that being a switch, DS, um, in the primal, those are all like the kinks you're with right now. What are some things that you don't have any experience or have very very little experience, but you're very interested in trying?
Mhm. Well, we have really, we've just started doing switching. Switching's still pretty new for me. When we dabble in it, I really enjoy it, but I haven't like taken my dominant side by the horns, so to say, um, and really embraced it. And I think I'm starting to
Wait, nice.
to enjoy that power that I get when it happens. we've started pegging too. I've really enjoyed doing that. That has been really fun.
You know, they
Uh,
do make ones. They do make strap-ons with clip vibrators too.
do they?
Yeah, yeah. There's one
I
called
need
Butterfly.
one.
Yeah, check that out. That's fun. Okay, so you're exploring you being dominant now. I kind of look at femdom. I mean, femdom is very varied, obviously, but when you know a woman is exploring femdom with their sub, as the sub's playing the role now, because your
Right.
switches, there tends to be the kind of sensual dominant dom. Like for example, my dom is more of the sensual type. She's but then on the other end of the spectrum, there's the sadistic dom, the one
Yeah.
who loves humiliation, giving them pain and making fun of them and stuff like that. So, what side do you lean towards more?
I would have thought that I would be the sensual kind of dom, but the more I play around with it, the more I'm like, I'll hit him once and he'll groan a little bit and I'll be like, no, that wasn't good enough. And I'll hit him again harder and it's just, there's a reaction that I want and I know how to get it and I'm gonna get it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But good luck on your journey when it comes to femdom. I'm really very supportive of that. Okay.
Thanks.
So we have a segment here called BDSM on a budget. Now, tomorrow is Thrifty King Thursday, hashtag Thrifty King Thursday. So I support and I urge everybody, if you have the money, to support high-end BDSM products and be careful with them, and especially if you're just doing stuff on a budget, please be careful. But expensive corsets, handmade corsets, toys, equipment, paddles, whips, chain, all that stuff. Please support it if you have the money, but not everybody has the money and they still want to be kinky. What are some ideas some BDSM life hacks that you can give somebody for someone who wants to be kinky but just doesn't have the money to spend?
Right. Well, first, never underestimate a wooden spoon ever. Wooden spoon goes far, far. Um, if you have a tool, a power tool like a drill. I know it sounds scary. Take the drill bit out. Nothing dangerous. And if you have zip ties, you can actually like tie the zip ties. You make one circle and then you tie other circles around it and tie them tight. So they have that one little like wing almost sticking out, and it almost looks like a windmill of
Wow, that's interesting.
you use your power tool, you turn it on, and it flips it faster and faster, and it stings. It really does.
Wow, I bet you could do a whole video of how to make one.
I totally could.
And you don't have to like put it on the campsites. You can like just put it on YouTube.
Absolutely. I'll definitely send it to you. It's really easy. Just
I'll
like
put it on the site. I'll put it on your kinky friend.
hell yeah.
I'll give you a whole day of just coverage on that.
Yes. That is the cheapest toy that you can make if you already have a power tool.
See, what's funny about that is because I thought you were going with like like take the drill and then just stick a dildo on it. And then,
Hey, that could work too.
okay, rapid fire, and many times they don't go rapid fire, and they don't have to. The answers do not have to be kink related.
Okay.
Recommend a movie.
I just watched a really good movie and I can't remember what it was called. I'm blanking out. It's on Netflix. It's got two sisters in it. It's an end of the world movie. I love end of the world movies. Dante's Peak. It's a great.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not the one I was thinking of, but that's a great movie.
The end of the world movies. Have you ever seen Melancholia? Lars Van Trier?
No.
Yeah, that's a good end of the world movie. It's really emotional. It really is like an allegory about depression.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who who Lars Van Trier is. He's kind of like a very artsy not a very artsy art house type film. He did a movie with Bjork called Dancer in the Dark, which will make you cry hysterically. He did a movie called Breaking the Waves.
I love movies. I love watching movies, so I'm gonna watch all of these
Yeah,
now.
a couple hours of entry, and he's very controversial. His new one is called The House That Jack Built, and it's got Matt Dillon as a serial killer.
Ooh.
Yeah, and Lars von Trier is a kind of scary character. And oh, he did Nymphomaniac, which and that's a two-part movie, and it has it's about a nymphomaniac in it, and it has unsimulated sex in it.
Huh, cool. How often does that happen?
If you like horror movies, he also did a crazy movie called Antichrist, which is
Oh, I bet that's spooky.
uh,
Super spooky. We've been watching scary movies all month.
oh yeah. And Netflix has some good stuff. There was a really good movie I saw recently on Netflix called I don't I don't belong in this world anymore or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that one pop up on my list of
Very good.
recommended.
Very, very good. And two other movies that I saw were great. Sorry to Bother You.
Mm-hmm.
You ever
I've
seen
seen that one.
that?
Yes.
Was awesome. That was awesome. I actually interviewed the director back at like 20 years ago when I was doing hip hop, when I was doing music reviews. Okay.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And speaking of music, recommend a song.
I can recommend a group, Coheed.
Okay.
I love Coheed and Cambria. They're my favorite band. A song, gosh, I can't think of any songs now that you've asked me. Um, Welcome Home is a basic song, so I don't want to tell you that one. Everyone knows Welcome Home.
And that's if you like it and it gives you joy, then sure. Maybe it's a good way to introduce people to the band. All right, recommend a book.
I would recommend The Siren for anybody who is into learning about topping. If they're not a top, it's a dominatrix kind of book. It's a little bit of a smut book, but I've been able to wrap my head around some sort of aspects of being a dominant through reading it. So it's been really interesting. But it's called The Siren.
Okay, when it comes to books, are you a Kindle person or a physical book person?
I'm a physical book person. I like to turn the pages and to see how much is left and how much I've read.
I'm the same way with music. I like the liner notes and the artwork but because of the convenience of like YouTube and Amazon and stuff like that, it's so much easier just to press play on a device.
Is. Yep. Every time I take a bath, I click play on Audible.
Yeah, I like the physical media though. I like the liner notes and the pics and stuff. Okay, recommend a television show.
Ooh, we just finished Haunted Hill House. Hill House.
Haunted. Yeah.
It's good.
Is it? I didn't see. I mean, I saw it in the queue.
It was really more of like a mind bender kind of haunting movie. I like movies that make you go, huh, at the end.
Okay, we're gonna get into
nice ears.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna get into the word association game. Okay. Now this is this is an interesting little game. Basically, I'm gonna say a word or a phrase. You say the first thing that pops into your head. Okay. It can be a word or a phrase. So if I say chastity, you may say lock. But let's say you're hungry and you have some pizza downstairs. If I say chastity, you could say pizza. There's no wrong answer.
Yay.
Like we like to get silly and absurd with this. That's why I'm wearing kitten ears. So we have two rules. Okay, we have two main rules. The first rule is literally say the first thing that comes into your head. It doesn't matter. There's no wrong answer. Just say the first thing that comes into your head. Could be nonsense. I don't care. That's something nonsense would be good, right? The second rule is we don't kink shame. So I'm gonna all of my phrases or words are gonna be kink related, and that's off the top of my head. Okay, but if it's a kink, and it very may be, a kink that like you don't like, please don't act in disgust or make fun of it. Just say, not my thing.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, someone else's yum.
Yeah. Now we have another. We have two other little sections of this game. Um, of one of our friends. His name is One Rule Supersedes. He makes little bumper stickers, and
Oh,
he calls them the me thing. So there's like spank me, eat me, follow me, or whatever. So I'm gonna, without looking, I'm gonna take one of these stickers and I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna show it to you. You say the first word comes to you.
okay.
Okay. Then we have the jar. Tangle Blue, my our kitten friend. Um, we both share a very kind of absurdist, weird sense of humor. So while most of the stuff on the top of my head is going to be kink related, I'm going to reach into this jar and I don't know what I'm pulling out of here. Okay,
Okay.
some of this is kink related, some of this is just nonsense.
Random. Cool. This will be
Uh,
fun. I'm excited.
yeah. Okay. So we'll start with my stuff first. Okay. Pegging,
Dildo.
chastity,
Fuck.
shaking,
Strangling.
straight jackets,
I'm sorry, it broke up. I couldn't hear you.
straight jackets,
Insanity.
all right, fire play,
Fireballs.
knife play,
Blood.
waterboarding,
Ouch.
latex,
Good night.
corsets,
Sexy.
all right, the Hitachi magic wand.
I want. I don't have
Oh, they're
one.
great. Oh my God. Get the attachments and get the one, you get the attachments on top and the extension cord with the dial.
Ooh, yeah, it's on my Christmas list. Maybe Santa will bring me one.
Trust me, you will love it. Okay. What about the violet wand?
Ooh, striking. I love it.
All right.
Love the violet wand.
Blush.
Squishy.
The daddy baby girl dynamic.
Love.
Kittens.
Meow.
Okay. The one rule supersedes bumper sticker is love me.
Please.
Okay. All right. Let's go into the jar.
Okay.
All right. Enema.
Water.
Fingers.
Come.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, here's one. Oh, wait, kitten. We already did that.
Bell.
Right. Oh, that's a good one. Dick pic.
Better lighting.
Reproduction value. Unicorn.
I have one on my
Oh,
bed.
all right. Glitter.
The STD of the art world.
Kickball.
Grade school.
All right. Branding.
Star.
Scar. Okay. Tattoos.
I want more.
Ah, well, do you have any ideas of what you're gonna get?
I want to get an octopus. I don't know why. I just think they look super cool. Um, with some tentacles over my shoulder. Something like that. That would be fun.
Rope.
Bunny.
Oh, pet play.
Headdress.
Okay. Coerced by.
Robot.
Fisting.
Tiny.
All right. Water sports, aka piss play.
Sanitizer.
Okay, and finally we reach the end. Pun, pun, pun. Scat.
Dog.
Okay. Oh my God, Mrs. Monopoly, you have been an absolute pleasure to speak with. I'm so thankful. I thought the interview went great. After we're done, please stay on the line real quick so we can just do a real quick recap. But please use this time to promote any and everything, whether it's kink related or not. Every link, your Snapchat, everything. Even though Yes, it's all going to be on the page, but hear it from Mrs. Monopoly herself. Go.
Please come and see me on my Twitter at Monopoly Switch, and come see us on Your Kinky Friends on Twitter also. What else do I need to say?
Do you have any? You could find. Can you find everything?
Oh yeah, where they can find everything.
Yeah.
Oh, my Snapchat is Monopoly Triple X, so it's Monopoly XXX. That's those are the most important ones. You can find everything in those.
And you have a website though.
I do. I do. I haven't had a lot of traffic on it, so I haven't been using it very much, but it's there. It's themrsmonopoly.com, and I get email notifications if you visit me.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This is Nicholas Tanek from Your Kinky Friends. You could find me on Twitter and Facebook. Just look up Nicholas Tanek. We have a special secret group on Facebook for Your Kinky Friends, so no one's going to know that you're in some kinky, Facebook group. Yeah, I'm on Instagram as Nick Tanek. Also, go to yourkinkyfriends.com. Check out our Discord group. You can join there. It's pretty cool. We have all these different little rooms. We have one just for music, one just for femdom, one for chastity, one just for images, a main room and everything. Everybody's and we got a bunch of kinky people. Everybody from doms to switches to sissies to to kittens, you name it. And yeah, it's getting late, my friends. Remember the rule. Be cool, be kind, keep an open mind. Have a great night.